as though we are running late with our scheduled meetings, why don't we have our next three pitchers come in all at once? They each have a different method for trying to treat spinal cord injury.
That sounds good. I feel like investing in one of their ideas would definitely bring us a lot of money, and we definitely need them. You can come in.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the Department of Undifferentiated Cells here and everywhere. We can see here that you are looking for a big sum of cash to further your research. We know that there are about 17,000 new cases of spinal cord injury each year, and that there are currently 282,000 people living with spinal cord injury in the United States alone.
Yes, and the life expectancy in these patients with spinal cord injuries is reduced by 7 years in the least severe of cases. The more severe cases will see their lifespan shortened by 40 years.
And the average lifetime cost for a patient with this type of injury is $3.1 million.
That's money we could be making.
Alright, let's see what you have.
My idea will bring us back to basics on a very complicated issue. As you know, you can always trust basic principles. My lab showed that you don't always need stem cells to restore function after spinal cord injury. The paracrine factors that our stem cells secrete are more therapeutic than directly differentiating them into nervous tissue. I have come up with a gel that actually holds cells in it, allowing the factors to do their work.
How was this done before?
So prior to our findings, stem cells were solely injected into the injury site or the bloodstream. This resulted in many stem cells never reaching the injury site or quickly dying once they got there. Also, the injured cells are very sensitive. The force of injecting into the injury site has been shown to make it worse a lot of the time. However, our method avoids all of these complications. The factors in our gel provide protection for stem cells and also a tendency for fluidic diffusion towards the injury site for paracrine factors, which repair damaged neurons, protect existing neurons, and promote angiogenesis.
So why is your gel worth investing in?
Because my gel gives human mesenchymal stem cells long-term in vivo viability. We aren't just talking about experiments done on mice like many of the competitors will present to you. My gel has factors that have demonstrated promising effects for human spinal cord and not just for spinal cord injury in mice. It has extracellular matrix factors that mimic the stem cell niche, optimizes the factor secretion, sustains the stem cells, and provides the perfect environment for regeneration.
All this gel stuff sounds way too complicated. What's simpler than putting cells in and letting them do their job? As you may know, neural stem cells are a very promising source for various central nervous system disorders. Embryonic cells have great plasticity and can be induced to form these neural stem cells.
Wait, won't it be a huge problem to use embryonic stem cells? You'll never get approval to continue your research once they know what you're using.
You're right about this, but we don't use these cells anymore. We've been able to establish induced pluripotent stem cells to do the job. The successful establishment of these cells has given us great promise, and we can see a lot of green in front of us.
I can see where you're going with this, but how will you use this in humans to ensure no teratomas form? That will be a disaster, and we will be sued out of the country. We want to make sure that these are safe to use.
That's something my team has addressed. No other studies were able to reach clinical trials. Our company has addressed several of the important issues pertaining to the iPSCs. First of all, we ran a detailed evaluation of the iPS cells' potential to generate the neural cells. We compared them to those formed from ESCs, and they were nearly identical, which tells us that they were good to use. Secondly, we ran several tests to check the effectiveness of the iPSC-derived neural stem cells as a treatment for spinal cord injury.
So they are safe? Got it. In the long run, how will this help the patient recover? You said earlier that the idea was complicated, but you never said why your idea was simple.
You see, I'm a complicated person with a very simple cure. When injected, our safe iPSCs produced functional neurons, astrocytes, and oligodendrocytes in vitro. When the iPSC-derived neurospheres were transplanted into the spinal cord, they differentiated into all three neural lineages without forming any tumors.
Great, so what does this mean?
This means that these neural lineages participated in remyelination and induced the axonal regrowth, which promoted locomotor function recovery.
Wow, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. That's going to be hard to beat.
I think our method is superior though, because we provide a scaffold for the neural stem cells to grow on,
Like he also said, we would be able to use induced pluripotent stem cells, so we wouldn't have any ethical issues with our work.
What is a scaffold though, and how would it work?
Our scaffold is modeled after the intact spinal cord and consists of a multi-component polymer scaffold. The inner scaffold is seeded with neural stem cells, and the outer scaffold has pores that guide axons, allow fluid transport, and prevent scar tissue formation. We believe this scaffold provides the key for a successful spinal cord injury therapy because it would provide trophic support for the stem cells. The scaffold is also degradable, so it would only stay in the body for a short period of time.
2 scaffolds? That sounds really expensive. What's the point of the outer scaffold?
Well, the outer scaffold prevents growth of other cell types, and this is how it prevents scar tissue from forming. The absence of scar tissue allows for preserved tissue and improved recovery.
Okay, but he said he's using neural stem cells as well. What makes yours much better?
Well, our research shows that neural stem cells alone may only provide trophic support rather than replacing cells. This is why the scaffold plays such a large role in recovery by directing cell replacement.
Well, that makes it clear then. There's an issue with the efficiency of stem cell injection. With my technique, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Just surgically place the gel by the injury site and let the regenerative factors flow.
At least my method is much less invasive and will not require severe surgery on the patient.
We will end the meeting now. We have gotten the information we needed from all 3 of you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your ideas, and we will contact you once we decide who we will be investing in.
Thank you.
Well, I like the idea of using the iPSC cells. I'm not sure whether the scaffold or gel ideas are as feasible as the iPSC method because I'm concerned about the risk of surgery with those methods.
Yeah, I feel like with scaffolds, the risk of surgery is minimal to the benefits that will result. I feel that with scaffolds, we have a higher possibility of maintaining and directing potent cells for regenerating and repairing spinal cord injury.
Right. Well, using iPSCs would be the better method in my opinion because you can directly differentiate those cells into the cells you think are necessary for the treatment. Also, with the scaffold treatment, what if the scaffold itself fails to work? It is an expensive procedure.
Well, this seems very complicated. I think I prefer the pitch from our last meeting.
I'm forgetting, which pitch was that again?
It was this one.
Bathroom? Can we go smoke a cigarette? I really need one. But first, let me take a selfie.